So, I've spent as much time as I'm going to at the moment trying to use heat and pressure to correct the forward bow in the neck, upward bow, and with some success, but I think it's still going to continue to be a problem unless we do something radical like pay somebody to install a truss rod. We'll see how it goes. This might work out. But meanwhile, it's time to, I have to make a decision. Either I start working on the refinishing or go ahead and put together the guitar, string it up, put a bridge on, and try to make adjustments and find out if it's playable. And I think I'm going to do that first because I just am curious. And I want to accomplish that before I start on the really hard work of refinishing, because it's going to be hard work. But it's going to be hard work still getting it playable as well. So I might as well do that, since that's really what a guitar is for. It's good to be beautiful, it's better to be functional if we can get there. Made a decision. We're going to string it up with 9s, which is pretty light for an archtop guitar. But the thinking is, and Kevin agreed with me, that we need to put the lightest strings on it we possibly can to take pressure off of the neck. So we're going to go ahead and start with some 9s and see how it turns out. I have a couple of options for bridges. One is this lovely rosewood bridge made for an archtop that we ordered, but I am very concerned and pretty much convinced that it is really not appropriate for this guitar that it's going to be, because the neck angle is just not high enough, and it's not going out far enough over the body of the guitar. I think this is meant to have a much smaller bridge, and I don't think I can probably sand the bottom of this down enough to correct that. So rather than starting out ruining that, I'm going to start out with something else. And I just happen to have something. It might not be what we end up using, but it would be a potential test case. This for a lower bridge. This is an old vintage electric guitar bridge that I got years and years ago, way back in 1995, I think, in Kansas City at a guitar shop, because on the Junkyard guitar, my first big guitar restoration project, way back then, long before I thought about restoring it, I thought I'd lost the bridge, didn't have a functional bridge for it, and so I got this. And I never ended up using it on the Junkyard guitar. It's a really nice looking bridge though, and it's really solid. And so, would you have a closer look? I'm going to go ahead and try using it. It's all metal. Got a lovely chrome finish. And what I've done with it to prepare it for this project is I put a piece of wood on the bottom for it to float across the bridge here, if I need to. See, because it doesn't curve with the surface here. But what I could do is I could sand away the middle of this to make it curve a little bit. So we'll see if that ends up being what I'm going to do. All right, time to start stringing. I'm listening to a 30-year-old audio tape from my father's church in Lansing, Kansas. My father and mother's church in Lansing, Kansas. My dad was a pastor there, and I was a guest preacher when I was just getting ready to start seminary. And it turns out my grandmother, Geraldine, was in the congregation that day as well. Dad made a big deal of that. It's interesting. Every time you string up a guitar that you've never strung before, you have to learn its idiosyncrasies. And this one has a tailpiece like I've never used before. Plus, the nut isn't set in yet, so it keeps sliding back and forth. I wonder who the special music was that day. Here's one of those interesting things that happens when you're working on a really old guitar. I don't know if this is clear, but I was about to put the final string on, and lo and behold, there's a chunk of old string on here, and it's been a pretty long time, I think, since this guitar was strung. So I'm gonna have to pull that out with pliers, but it's just interesting that it's still there. Last thing's got to be removed before going on with the new. I gotta help her. I gotta help her. Yeah. It's her adoption day, and I'm supposed to be playing with her, cause that's what we do on adoption day. Is we play, cause that's her favorite thing. Yeah, Lily. I'll play with you in just a second. There's your toy. We'll play. I'm going to show the people some stuff. Got it all strung up. It actually plays. Plays reasonably in tune, and I haven't even made any adjustments to it yet. The lighter strings, clearly a good idea, but there are going to be issues with the action, bridge height, and clearance. I'm checking the relief right now. So I've been checking the relief here, and it's actually surprisingly not bad. With the capo installed at the 1st fret and holding down the strings at the 12th fret, I'm measuring it at the 8th and 9th, 7th, 8th, and 9th fret, and what I want is something between 0.3 and 0.5 millimeters around the 8th fret, and we're right in there. It's actually not humongously high. There's quite a bit of relief in there, but not that's just over 4. It's sliding right in there. I'd like it if it were a little smaller than that, but that's still workable, you know. And on the high end, it's not an issue at all. Very interesting. Could be better, but it's still quite doable. The problem is, however, that the bow and the neck, that it still picks it up here at this top end, which means to get enough clearance, I'm going to have the bridge higher. And there's more than one way to do that, one of which is to attempt installing the other bridge. I've got this one maxed out. But I could actually take this out closer to the tailpiece. I haven't done the intonation on it yet anyway. But I could also add another wooden piece to the bottom of this. Or I could actually try installing the rosewood bridge and see what we come up with. I'm going to try all those things because that's the fun of doing a project like this, is I've got the time. Well, I don't really have the time, but I'm going to take the time because, you know, we're going to do it right.